Thank you, good afternoon everybody, and thank you so much for your attendance on this quite memorable day of our short life of the SHAC and our very first AGM. I apologise up front, this is quite lengthy, so that we thought we'd have it in here so you've got something to view while it's going on, because there are so many people to thank. On behalf of the association, all the members, we are very proud to welcome you all here today. We'd also like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the Gundungurra and Tharawal people as the traditional custodians and inhabitants of this land we now call the Winchcarabi Shire. A little bit of history. More than 150 years ago, a surveyor by the name of Richard Hoddle, working with a crew of convicts, cut a bridle path through the escarpment from Kiama, through thick bush, scrub, burrowing bushes and gum trees to forge a line all the way through to Mossvale. And Robertson developed then as a town back in the 1860s. Arts was a culturally really important aspect of life back then, probably more so than it is now. Even very early on, as the Heidelberg School was forming in Melbourne and Julian Ashton started the Sydney Art School, it was recognised that arts should form an important part of any community in rural Australia particularly, and in the late 1800s work commenced on the Robertson School of Arts. So for more than 100 years artists have created, performed and exhibited in this town and in the Southern Highlands region, and these performances and exhibitions were the core of everyone's social life. There wasn't any Netflix or Facebook back then. We at the SHAC wanted to create that same environment, a place which is fun, a place that encourages creativity, where people can learn, where creative people can earn a living, where visitors can see people make beautiful things and learn to appreciate handmade again. In essence, we wanted to create a space where creative people can come together, share their vision, and the general public can come and be part of and be privy of that vision. So fast forward to last year, to 2018, in June, local artist Rick Abel, who's here today, contacted Michael Lynch and myself and asked for ideas. He said this whole building was almost empty, except for Rick's studio, where he was powering away painting at the back, and it was looking like the owner was going to rent it out for storage. Carlos Barrios, who was a creative powerhouse in town, was leaving to move up north, and the creative hub of Robertson was rapidly fading. A whole lot of brainstorming ensued, and we organised a meeting of local creatives back in August last year, and quickly a small core group of creative brains gave birth to this concept and actually got it off the ground. Rick, Brooke and Colin Munro, Michael Lynch, myself, Zavoni Hodak and Phil Young, and Zoe Waters was very involved then. Without all that amazing enthusiasm and bloody hard work by that small group, the SHAC concept would never have made it past the starting block. Rapidly, Brooke and Colin Munro and Zavoni and Phil Young took two of the retail studios at the front. Cat Doyle built a great website, and bingo, the SHAC was off and running. Thank you enormously to that small group, or this wouldn't be in existence. We then needed to break up, the next thing was break up the vacuous Ben quilty old space at the back of the SHAC into at least 8 studios. It was huge, there were ceilings up to the sky, it was absolutely freezing, and we had no money. Phil Young took this whole project on, starting with getting Gubbins on board as a sponsor, supervising some renovations that the owner did under our encouragement, and with the truly wonderful John Kenners and the Robertson's men's shed coming to the rescue, along with a very generous Paul Ashley from the Fireplace studio in Mossvale. The studios at the back took shape. By October, this founding group realised that for the concept to survive, we needed to become a not-for-profit, and hence the Southern Highlands Artisans Collective was incorporated. And our first committee was the 6 of us: Rick, Brooke, Zavoni, Phil, Michael and I, Cat Doyle and Kate Vella. Our mission was then and still is to bring together talented artists, artisans and designers from across the Southern Highlands, providing the community and visitors an opportunity to interact with artists at work, participate in dedicated events and purchase and commission works. Many of the original committee members have dropped out through sheer hard work, and some are actually coming back again. Your committee now is a group of extremely dedicated and community-minded art lovers and volunteers who want to ensure that what we are building is done thoughtfully and is done as best as possible. There's nothing like this anywhere else in the Highlands, and it's our aim to grow this into a preeminent regional working art space in New South Wales. We believe very strongly in the model we're developing, and to ensure our future success and viability, we want to work with state and federal governments, the Winchell-Carriby Shire Council, our key founding sponsors, and future emerging artists to create an environment where people will want to come and see some of the best creative work in Australia. There's an estimated 45,000 artists in Australia. One little known fact is that the Southern Highlands is perhaps the highest percentage of artists per capita for all of Australia. And our top 3 living artists live here in the Highlands. Art and creativity is at the core of the Highlands, and the SHAC is playing a really important role in highlighting this core. And we want to play a significant role in nurturing emerging artists and artisans well into the future. With those opening words in mind, the 2019 AGM of the Southern Highlands Artisans Collective Association not only gives us time to reflect on what's been achieved over the prior 12 months, but also to acknowledge and recognise the importance of our sponsors, in particular Di Jones / Knight Bailey Real Estate and the Robertson Hotel, not the pub. The committee, our volunteers, and of course all the dedicated artists who reside and exhibit in the SHAC. We also want to thank the very generous building owners, Honeycomb. They're very modest and they don't like to be named, but without Steve, this concept would not have seen the light of day. As a building owner, he's been incredibly understanding and supportive of the SHAC concept, and he should be very proud, and we're very proud of him, of what he's contributed, what this whole thing to the village of Robertson, not just for the town's people, but for all the businesses in the village. Like any not-for-profit, we rely on the generosity of people to give up their time for the benefit of the community, often to the detriment of their own personal commitments. In particular, I'd like to thank the following people. Gail Miller, our Vice President and Public Officer, our rock, who's been with us since incorporation. Gail's worked tirelessly to not just get the building up to shape and to work with all the artists and the building owners on lease arrangements, which is no easy task because artists generally are not really very good with leases. But Gail's been our advisor, our mediator with legislation, legals, insurances, logistics and every other sticks that you can think of. And it's not easy to be the shoulder that everybody cries on. But that's what Gail does, day in, day out, and thank you, Gail. Michelle Waters, our treasurer since February, and sadly our outgoing treasurer, for all your hard work, Michelle, in getting us into shape. And we did need a lot of getting into shape. But throwing yourself in whenever we needed organising with an event, and for just always being there. Sadly, the Fireys and her family need her more than we do at the moment. Well, she thinks they do. So thank you, Michelle, for what you've done for the SHAC, and hopefully you will still be around. Chris McCann, who joined in August, currently our great secretary, and thank you to P. Wei Lim, who was our secretary before Chris. The secretaries is never an easy job, and we've had so much to do and get up to speed within this first year. Then Julie York, our gallery manager, who joined us in May but has made such an impact. We all feel like you've been here forever from day one. The exhibitors, wannabe exhibitors, all sing Julie's praises. She's been on a sharp learning curve, along with all of us, in trying to learn how to run the gallery. And wow, what a great job you're doing, Julie. And a huge thank you to Bonnie Stoddart and Gordon Richards, who've worked so hard to make each of the exhibitions look terrific. Art doesn't hang itself, unfortunately. Brooke Munro. an exceptional creative artist, mother and long-term Southern Highlands person. Fond of everyone creative in the Highlands and just a can-do amazing personality and a good person. Brooke and Colin were founding advisors, residents, exhibitors, and just go-to for everything we couldn't sort out ourselves, and still are. Absolute icons of the creative world in the Highlands and just beautiful people. We're very proud to have you as part of the SHAC. Christy Phelan, who's sadly not here as she is getting everything ready for tomorrow's Community Day, the font of all knowledge with everything art-wise in the Highlands and for always keeping the SHAC top of mind. Putting us out there with the council, the media and the art world in general. Christy's been a huge help in getting the SHAC up there with top of mind awareness we have built in such a relatively short time and virtually on no budget. Helping us find sponsors, and without sponsors we wouldn't be here today. All our volunteers, the amazing Anella Wheatley, who's now organising the volunteers, and thank you for that. Our weekly volunteers, Maria Gorton, Robin Esra, Peter Starkey, Kerry Townsend, Teresa Moran, and those regularly helping with the gallery, Janet Hicks, Leslie Hetherington, Robin Hunt, Shirley Bells coming on board, Jenny Bennell, Gail Dolphin, Deb, Mandy and Jeremy Perot. Our sponsors who had faith that this would work really need to be thanked again. Michael Cawthorne from what was Nut Bailey has now become Di Jones, and Concodas from the Robertson Hotel. We really had not much to offer then other than our dream, and they both came on board with some fabulous support, financial support, which we really needed to get ourselves up and running then. And Sean from Rob Roofing, another smaller sponsor who came on, who's a great supporter of the SHAC and the artists in it. Quite a few of the artists have now featured in Sean from Rob Roofing's household. Please, and our numerous supporters, have a look at the supporters wall out the back and see all the individuals and small businesses who've helped the SHAC in some way. And of course, these old potato packing shed owners, Honeycomb, who've backed us 100% to build this unique environment. We do have some significant others who are always there to help out. Mine, Michael Lynch, who does tirelessly work on all our art direction, publicity material, exhibition material and more, pays the gallery's rent and other expenses. Colin Munro has now been a significant other with the children, who's constantly been called on to move things, build things, fix things, compare and perform, and just does it without complaint, or maybe to Brooke. The men's shed we really have to mention because we wouldn't be in this shape without them, and all the wonderful studios out the back wouldn't be there without the exceptional hard work of Phil Young and the men's shed. It was a community coming together at its really very, very best. But most importantly, we want to thank all the great artists and artisans who are residents at the SHAC. You who've believed in what this could be, and you who have put yourselves out there and made this work. Thank you, each and every one of you. So how do we do in relation to those objectives for the last year? I think this year your committee has done an absolutely exceptional job and something we should all be really, really proud of. Following the incorporation in 2018, the first matters the committee addressed were things such as strengthening our corporate governance, understanding our role, determining what the true purpose or aims are for the SHAC, and working within our constitution. The committee were all in agreement. We clearly set out our aims and rules. These became our guiding principles and set in place what our committee is going to do and how we're going to do it. We thought through setting out our purpose that this would drive a lot of our initiatives, including how we promote the SHAC to ensure it remains viable, to organise, promote and support community events and raise funds to maintain and develop the association for the benefits of the arts and culture in the Southern Highlands, community and our residents, applying for grants to improve our facilities and enhance and grow our organisation. So how do we do in relation to those objectives? Well, this year your committee, I think, has done an exceptional job and something we should all really be proud of. We held 26 official meetings and numerous unofficial meetings. with greater than 90% attendance of all volunteers. Too many to count of all those other ones and hours and head hours that everyone's put in over that time. We produced agendas, committee papers, minutes, action items, grant applications and more. Being greatly improved by Chris at the moment. We produced some major events. The grand launch of the SHAC on May 11th, at which there was an estimated between 600 and 700 people attended, which really was quite unbelievable for the Highlands. We successfully raised funds through a celebrity art auction, had some local and national celebrities very generously take part, and a raffle of a fantastic performance painting on the night by Rick Abel. We were officially opened by John Olsen's son, Tim, who filled in for John, who became ill at the very last minute and attended via mobile phone for some of the evening. We were greatly supported by the Robbo pub across the world, owners with grog, staff and glasses, so thanks to them enormously. We created this gallery, the SHAC Gallery, sponsored and supported by Michael and myself, with the wonderful assistance of Julie York and our management subcommittee, including generous contributions of artists, Gordon, who's here, and another group of people. More of that in Julie's gallery manager's report. We also had the honour recently of launching the Southern Highlands Arts Studio Trail this year with all the trail artists and over 300 people attending, an opening by Ben Quilty. We launched the inaugural SHAC Handmade Market Day early this month, which was small but a fabulous and profitable day for stall holders and the SHAC residents. And we're told a huge day for most of the businesses in the village. So we're not just contributing to ourselves, we're constantly contributing to making Robertson a more viable place for the businesses here. We hosted 4 Meet the Artists evenings, small intimate evenings that we're starting to do to encourage architects and designers, new home purchasers down here, to get to meet the artists, view their work on a one-to-one basis and encourage commissions. We've applied for grants and funding and we'll up the ante on those with Phil Young, who's coming back into the fold to help with grant applications, which he has expertise in. We've sourced and assisted 17 local artists and artisans to move into the studios here, and thanks to Gail. At the end of the June, we had paid up members of 71 members, and by mid-November, we'd raised that to 110 members, with 23 community members who are at the larger $200 a year level. And many other things that just go unnoticed. Our Secretary Chris is preparing a new constitution, which will allow us to have more committee members. We've got some ready to come on board. Susie Russ, who's here today, is going to help Julie run the gallery and do a job share with her so we don't lose Julie, because her family are a bit pissed off at the moment. And we desperately don't want to lose Julie, so Susie has very kindly said put her hand up and we'll help there, which is terrific. Scott Dunster and Rodney, who are here today, new members who've just joined, and Scott have got expertise in marketing, and they've put their hand up there, which is absolutely fabulous, where we need a lot of help. And there's a few more people that have put their hand up, which is fantastic, because we need help with memberships, events, and a lot of things still to come. We need more hands on deck for the gallery and for the events. We've got a sensational group of people already, but with more expertise and fresh ideas on board, we hope we can only get better. So all in all, a pretty amazing effort for our first year as a newly formed committee and incorporation. Thank you, each and every one of you. You know who you are. And to be part of the SHAC. It shows what a community can do with nothing more than pure hard work, love, and a lot of passion. Thank you.
Thank you, Patsy. That was wonderful. Do we have any questions, please?
Can we turn
No?
the music off?
Yes. Well, we can turn the music off. I don't know where it's actually coming from.